side position, it is NightMare.
Spooky.
Spooky.
And on the top left, we have once again our Han Solo from Korea playing for Team Alpha X. It is Zoun.
Both players with the pylon on the high ground, most likely to be followed by 2 gateways each. What units do you think we're gonna see from the gateways?
Stalker.
On both ends?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna predict Stalker Adept on one end. And Adept at Sentry Stock. There are so many different combinations in this matchup. It's actually kind of exciting. It can be Stalker Sentry, Adept, Stalker Adept, which we don't see very often. No one goes Sentry.
We did see it one time.
Which one?
In altitude.
Earlier today. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it doesn't. I don't see it very often, but today makes me think that it's a possibility.
Very unusual for sure.
Yeah.
But otherwise looks pretty standard so far. Double gas to get opener from both sides. And they both scouted at the same time. So the time we will see deviations will either be when they start their gateway units or when they start their tech building.
Yeah, very interesting. Interesting also to me was that Zoun was mining the first gas that he had with 3 probes. Not really adjusting when the second gas finished. He saturated one at a time. I wonder if it's better to do 2 and 2 to start. I would think that it is, just for the
mathematically, it is better.
But it is 1 extra action, right? So maybe it's irrelevant enough that he doesn't feel he has to do it, or maybe he's too much of a zoomer and just doesn't know these facts.
That is, both are real possibilities. We'll ask him in the winner's interview.
Zoun is going to be blocking the expansion there, potential for NightMare, but NightMare had already opened with double gas. He's going to be happy. It's going to be Sentry Stalker on one side and Stalker Adept on the other side.
There you go.
Predicted it perfectly.
And NightMare, instead of getting a fast tech building, looks like he is going to opt into getting Stalker number 2 and 3. And he is also chronoing out his warp gate, which is something Zoun is not doing.
Yeah.
Instead choosing to save his chrono boost for the probably Oracle that's going to come out.
Yeah, a little bit of a classic there. Considerably faster Stargate on the side of Zoun. NightMare will have the option to go into Phoenix, because like you said, I think you're correctly assuming that it's going to be an Oracle. I'm going to zoom in on the Stargate to confirm, as it doesn't begin a unit yet. There it is. And it will be an Oracle, it will be chrono boosted, and it will be spotted by NightMare. So I think this bodes well for him. If you can keep tabs on that Oracle and spot it as it's coming in, it shouldn't do too much damage. And you have the advantage basically in the transition into Phoenix if you choose to go that route, which I have to imagine is what he's going to do.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's opting to actually continue with the shield battery in his main, because he's already going Phoenix. I feel like that would be enough of a deterrent already for the Oracle. But
I think it's fine, because the Oracle still would find damage, right? Like when I was saying, with one Phoenix, I said he's not gonna take too much damage, and that's what I stand by. The Oracle would still kill, I think, 3 or 4 probes, but with a battery, no chance, Jose.
He has to recall this Oracle as soon as possible, right? Does he have energy?
No, he's just gonna go for the mineral line and look at the shield battery. He's gonna put in work. He's gonna say, "Not here, my boy." So the Oracle instead just goes for the best thing that it can go for, which is a stasis trap, but doesn't even manage it before going down. So excellent start here for NightMare, who now has that edge into the Phoenix. So the Stargate tech is dead on the side of Zoun. He's transitioning onto Blink, which is by no means bad, but definitely an advantage for NightMare here.
That is an insane advantage for NightMare. Basically a 600 resource advantage. Because that Stargate was completely useless, except maybe as a little bit of scouting. But he had a hallucination Phoenix anyways, so
Yeah, the probe pool maybe accounts for like 1 probe worth of mining or something like that, like 1 probe worth of damage at the most. So mostly
I do like
irrelevant.
his follow-up though. Pretty smart. Going for Dark Shrine. Looks like it's follow-up on both sides actually
Oh,
for Dark Shrine.
yeah, Nightmare's actually ahead on that front. And I quite like his because he also knows about the Stargate, and he knows that he killed the Oracle, which is the only form of detection. So unless Nightmare went straight into the Robo, which would suck against the Phoenix, I feel like this is just brilliant from Nightmare, right? Like it kind of covers both bases. It's like if you go Robo, you're weak against my Phoenix. If you don't go Robo, you don't have detection, my boy.
Yeah. And he does wall in the main, which is extremely important against these two adepts. Loses a Phoenix.
Those are
Okay.
expensive.
So this is not too bad for Zoun. But, like I said, still nothing to deal with Nightmare's DTs that are going to be warping in soon.
Same on the other side, though. I mean, Sound doesn't have the Robo yet finished, but at least it's on the way. Sound, Nightmare don't have don't have nothing for the DTs. You know what I'm saying?
His only hope here is chronoing out an Oracle for the Revelation, but even still, that only guarantees the kill on one DT.
That is completely true. No Forge, no Robo.
Is this going to be another game where Nightmare just dies instantly?
And here come the boys. On the other side, DTs are out, but the Observer's nearly out already. The DTs are just going to backtrack, and on your side, Sound, or on your side, Nightmare, it's exactly your
I think
name.
it's over, Cats.
I think it might be. I mean, there is that Oracle being chrono boosted, like you said, but exactly like you pointed out, Aiejo, it's only going to be able to deal with a 1 DT. And then what?
And then that's it. He has to huddle up in his main until Revelation comes off cooldown, and he has to hope that Zoun doesn't do anything else to punish him while he huddles up in his main.
Yeah. Sound's even gonna go scouting and find the third base. I would have much liked to see Sound drop make extra DTs, right? You know that the Oracle is the only way that they are being detected, so just split 3 and continue to do this, but he chooses to be merciful. He has an advantage, so it's pretty massive too, so he can afford to not kill his opponent right now.
Yeah, I think he maybe is gonna wait for his charge to actually go in as a timing attack along with his extra 3 gateways. So we might be seeing some kind of Stalker Charge Lot Immortal push. Now the question is, how long is he gonna keep his advantage for? Because it's pretty substantial. The longer the game goes, the bigger his advantage, right? I mean, he's just mining so much more.
Yeah, it's actually less than I thought. It's 54 workers to 45. It's still a massive lead, but I thought it would be worse.
He's cutting probes, so he's definitely going for a timing attack.
Okay, here we go then. And if you're Nightmare, I don't know that you have many odds to hold this at all. He just chrono boosted a target that's not building anything. So yeah, we're panicking a little bit.
Will need to fight under an overcharged shield battery and in good positions.
Not if there's no good positions here. I mean, this battery is going to be exposed. The army's nowhere near to be found, so free third for the taking here on the side of Sound.
That's disaster. The Oracle is dead. Disaster. He can warp in DTs, and which he does.
Nifty.
Is there an observer in the field? There's one observer for Nightmare. He needs to bring over Siege right now.
Yeah, Siege that the natural. Yeah, no battery here. I mean, there's going to be probes being pulled. The Phoenix are trying to do what they can. The Stalkers are microing like madmen, but it's not going to be enough. As, Sound is going to get on top of him, and it's going to be a pretty clean victory from Sound. I mean, a good start from Nightmare with the response to the Oracle, not taking any damage to that, but the DTs just completely unaccounted for.
Yeah, that is going to be all she wrote for Nightmare as Zoun takes game number 1 on Kreisvan.
Yeah. A little bit brutal. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Gresvan has a tendency to do things like that to us. But Nightmare. Gotta tidy up against the DTs. It seems like Protoss like DTs. Surprise. It's been 12 years, 13 years. Protoss have been making DTs for.
It does kind of, well, it used to be that the model for Protoss was one behind Dark Shrine, whereas
Yeah.
nowadays it's more like all the time Dark Shrine.
Yeah, one ahead, one behind. I mean, yeah, at some point in time, like 7 years ago or something, they buffed the Dark Shrine cost, right? To where it's no longer that all-in type investment.
Yeah.
So you can just have a casual Dark Shrine, like even just to have, right? Like as a cool building out there. If it gets spotted, your opponent has to react and spend money of their own. So
Yeah, it's really not bad at all. And I think NightMare is just kind of getting punished. He's getting known as the guy who cuts corners versus DTs. Because this is the second time today, he just instantly dies to 2 Dark Templars.
yeah,
That's
can you tell
rough.
me what they said now in chat? Nightmare type ... So he must not be too happy with what Zoun said.
Rasse te dense. He said last dance.
Last dance.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that's pretty BM. That's basically saying I'm gonna end it right now, right?
Well, he wrote that during the last game.
I see.
Yeah. But I think he's implying that this is his last tournament.
Is it really? That is a wow.
I think so.
That is a leap. So Zoun's last tournament?
Well,
Before
possibly,
what?
yeah. Maybe before he retires? Or Army, yeah.
Interesting. All right.
Zoun hasn't completed yet, so he's, you know.
According to Kelasor, this is the last tournament of this guy on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Gotta change the game screen. It is Zoun. Nearly retired.
Oh, God.
Big words, Kelasor.
And on the top right side of the map, trying to come back into the series, he needs to tidy up against Dark Templars, as Kat said. It is NightMare. Don't forget to fix his scores.
That is a great call.
Once again, they're both gonna play 2 gate with gate scout on the probes. One thing that is different is that NightMare opts for a much faster second gas than Zoun. I guess it's just the way they chrono is a bit different from one another. But other than that, not much variation in the early game.
Units.
This is, of course, a little bit shorter of a map than this one. I think it has to be Stalker, right? Because this map is so short, I would be scared.
I would go Stalker for sure, because this map is so short. If you say short to me, I say Stalker.
Yeah. But I guess it could also be double Adept into Stargate. Wouldn't that be interesting? We haven't seen that in a while, though.
I don't know it. Stalker against Stalker is what I'm predicting here. Stalker. Got him. We got him, Diego.
We got him.
We're good Protoss analysts.
And what about the tech building? Stargate?
I mean, that's the most obvious, so I'm gonna say 1 Robo, 1 Stargate. Just to mix it up. The Stargate is late though, right? Like if you go Stalker, so...
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, Twilight is maybe as likely or even more likely than Stargate at this point, not sure.
Interesting pylon by NightMare. Spots that is 1 Stalker. He doesn't spot the second Stalker though.
Very interesting indeed. So it could be a sentry or something of the sorts.
And actually, wow. Zoun follows up with Adept Sentry.
Yeah. One of the
Which is actually not really gonna help him here to defend. I mean, if there were 3 and 4 Stalkers coming, shouldn't he be scared?
He should be dead almost. Yeah, there's no battery inside. I guess it's halfway done. One of the Stalkers will get taken down, the one that was weakened by virtue of NightMare using his probe to tank a little bit earlier on. Battery will finish though.
Battery will finish, but the Adept will be caught in the middle of the map by Zoun. It's gonna lose a lot of its HP. But at least in Nightmare's favor, he did force a force field out of Zoun, which means no hallucinated Phoenix for him.
Very good point. And it's going to be a Twilight Council on either side actually this time around. So standard transitions into Blink are what we are to expect here.
Yeah. Unless we see more Dark Shrines going down. Does not seem to be the case.
That's not.
At least not yet. So economy-wise, they're gonna continue on pretty similar to each other. Both bases, both naturals finish at similar times. Adept doesn't really get the scout that he wanted. But I think at this point, after you see 4 stalkers, you can kind of...
That she wanted. I feel like Adepts are definitely a she.
Yeah, she. You're right. Then I think with this in mind, as Nightmare here, what kind of build do you... I mean, how do you really want to play this off? Or would you be afraid of Dark Shrine? I guess he's already starting his Robo, but last time the BTs came in at, what was it, 5:30 or something?
Yeah, very early on. I mean, I think he would be okay-ish this time around, right? Like he knows more or less like what investments his opponent has had to make into the gas and whatnot. And yeah, I think both players are pretty comfortable right now. I would call this a very even position with a faster third going for Sound. So Nightmare's gonna have the option to either take his third, like in the, yeah, it looks like he's gonna take his third in the next few seconds, or the other option would have been maybe add a couple gateways and try to apply the pressure and play for denying or killing that third and then taking yours, right? So pretty standard game. I don't expect this might be the longest game we've had by the looks of it.
We'll see. I mean, Nightmare is opting for that pressure that you were talking about. While Zoun made that third base, Nightmare was like, no, I'm gonna make a third and a fourth gateway and a Warp Prism.
Okay.
So this is heavy investment. Only now the third base is starting for Nightmare, but I don't know. Kind of looks like he wants to put on some pressure.
It does. It doesn't seem like he should be able to find much, though, especially after investing into that third still. But I mean, he has other plans. The Warp Prism's on the way already, and Immortal halfway down on the side of Sound, however. So I don't expect that Nightmare will be able to find much with this. Maybe except for the Adepts, if they can find something. Both observers go down there.
That's kind of crazy.
Sieged. And the Adepts, really weird angle too. They shade into a third that's empty of probes. Would have much rather done the opposite, right? Like with the Stalkers coming from the left and the Adepts going into the natural / main.
I think he kind of got spotted, so he decided to swing around, but still, it looks like Nightmare is not really convinced that he can win this fight as he begins to retreat. He does need to be careful with this Warp Prism. Definitely don't want to lose such an expensive unit.
Yeah, it's tough not to lose it as well. So the Stalkers are having to turn around and take bad fights just to allow for the Warp Prism to evacuate. Adepts will go into the natural this time. 1 probe, 2 maybe, just doesn't look like more.
So 2 probes go down for the cost of 2 Adepts. Warp Prism is going to swing around by Nightmare. Maybe he'll decide to warp in a couple more Adepts or maybe even some Zealots as he begins to research charge. But
yeah, it's going to be a couple of Adepts for now.
Yeah, it does feel like Nightmare got the shorter end of the stick there. He doesn't even have a forge yet.
What? Crazy Blink there, trying to capitalize on the absence of the Immortals, but now they're here, they've arrived, and this seems to be too much for Sound, and so much for the longest game potentially of the day. It looks like it's gonna be a swift 2-0 again on the C stream. It's only been 2-0s, it's been very quick all around, and this game does not look like it's gonna be the exception, Daiejo.
Yeah, I mean, he pulls the probes, and it's still not enough to hold. He does kill the Immortal, but what about all these Stalkers? A Warp Prism is here. Look at Zoun's money. He can warp him so many units. And he just finished this extra gateways. He's going up to 6.
Yeah, he's going to be merciful perhaps. Or maybe it's the right call too, right? Because the one advantage that Nightmare did have is the charge is a little bit faster. And Zealots can really turn these engagements very quickly against Stalkers. So NightMare knows that this is his timing. So good pullback from Zoun in that sense, in the sense that he's gonna fight basically with the same unit compositions that he would on the other side, but with more and with Defender's Advantage and with his shield battery. And it's still a NightMare that wants to make something happen because he knows how far behind he is. He knows he's taking a lot of damage. Shield battery will be targeted right away by the Blink Stalkers. And now the Zealots, I mean, they're getting on top of these probes. The probes are getting pulled promptly. Zealots without charge, now with charge being warped in on the side of Zoun just to soak up some damage at the front. The Stalkers are thinning out on the side of NightMare as well. And that is a lot of their DPS. Once those Stalkers are done, then the Zealots are going to struggle to find the surface area to really output the full amount of DPS. And it feels like Zoun with this hold should have secured the game. Very, very difficult to imagine that NightMare has a way back in.
Yeah, that was NightMare's last chance for a comeback into the game. And it felt like for a moment there was a chance. Maybe Zoun was being a bit too greedy, taking so many gateways and +2 and all his upgrades behind it, but he held it so convincingly, only losing 2 probes.
Yeah,
that was masterfully defended.
Yeah, it didn't feel scary because he pulled the probes as quickly as he did, I think. But yeah, he
also
did get
the force
caught.
fields were really good. There was no surface area for NightMare's charge lots to fight.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But yeah, that was a lot of charge lots. I mean, it looked like a scary attack for sure for a second, but Zoun did all the right things. I mean, the probe pull was great, and then the reinforcing just with Zealots, like with 2 Zealots at a time, basically worth of war pins, was just kind of perfect because you just need to soak up a little bit of damage here and there, and you should be good. And now, out of position once again, it's gonna be NightMare. He's gonna flank, but instead he's gonna find a larger flank of Zealots on the other side waiting for him. What do you do?
Speaking of scary attacks, the flank gets flanked, all these Zealots get surrounded, Stalker goes down, NightMare's army supply is almost being doubled at this point. He's gonna need at least triple battery overcharge to hold this. Even still, Zoun might say, okay, I'll wait 10 seconds, I'll be back for you in a bit.
No, I mean, Zoun has a 4th, right? He's in no rush whatsoever. NightMare is doing everything he can to get Archons out, and I mean, Zoun has been warping in Zealots only pretty much, so while he might still have enough, and he likely does here, maybe the most questionable way to go out closing this game, right? Like mass Zealots against Archons.
Yeah, he's really showing his dominance here by pushing while saturating his 40 bases behind it, even getting disruptors, so he's preparing his technology thing.
Oh god, he just has a billion. Yeah.
This is brutal.
I mean, it's far from elegant, right? I feel like you're right, like he's just macroing and making sure he wins with the back end, but I mean, this attack's just swarming Zealots onto Archons, and it's just a display of power. I mean, he could have at least finessed it a little bit, send the Warp Prism into the main, like do a warping in the main with 4 Zealot drops or something like that, so as to spread the damage potential of the Archons, but